71-year-old man died in his sleep. Bedtime habits you must avoid. After 70, the sudden passing of a 71-year-old man in his sleep last night, leaving his family in profound shock despite his seemingly good health the day prior, serves as a stark and sobering reminder that as we advance in years, certain seemingly innocuous bedtime routines can quietly but significantly elevate health risks, including a heightened susceptibility to severe medical emergencies such as debilitating strokes, life-threatening heart attacks, and even unpreventable sudden death. The disturbing reality is that a vast majority of individuals, particularly those in their golden years, remain entirely unaware of the perilous nature of these common nocturnal habits. This comprehensive exploration delves into 4 specific nighttime practices that become particularly hazardous for individuals over the age of 70. Routines that, while appearing minor and benign on the surface, possess the profound potential to detrimentally impact one's long-term health trajectory and overall longevity. Some of these insights may genuinely surprise you, challenging ingrained assumptions, while others might relate to actions you've routinely engaged in for decades, without ever pausing to consider their potential repercussions. By fully understanding these risks, individuals can equip themselves with the essential knowledge to safeguard their health, significantly enhance the quality of their sleep, and consistently awaken each morning feeling remarkably stronger and revitalized. It is especially crucial to absorb every detail until the very end, as the final habit highlighted is one that countless seniors unknowingly practice every single night, potentially exposing themselves to grave and serious danger, yet easily remedied with informed adjustments. Furthermore, this discourse will illuminate actionable alternatives to ensure a far safer and more restorative sleep experience. One of the most pervasive yet alarmingly perilous bedtime habits that intensifies in risk after the age of 70 is the consumption of substantial meals excessively late into the evening. While this might appear harmless, a practice perhaps maintained for many years without apparent immediate ill effects, it is imperative to acknowledge that with advancing age, the human body's metabolic and digestive processes undergo significant alterations, rendering them far less efficient than in younger years. Consequently, not only the composition of what is consumed before retiring, but crucially, when it is consumed, can exert a profound and direct influence on the quality of sleep, the intricate health of the cardiovascular system, and even the likelihood of experiencing sudden, severe nighttime complications. Reflect upon the stark contrast. In one's youth, a large, hearty dinner consumed late in the evening would likely result in an undisturbed night of sleep. However, past the 7th decade of life, the metabolic rate naturally decelerates. The digestive system operates with diminished vigor, and the body requires considerably more time and energy to effectively break down and assimilate food. This prolonged and strenuous digestive effort can precipitate a cascade of unwelcome physiological responses, including distressing acid reflux, severely fragmented and disrupted sleep patterns, and even an undesirable elevation in nocturnal blood pressure, all of which are inextricably linked to a substantially increased propensity for suffering heart attacks and strokes during the vulnerable hours of sleep. Should you ever experience the unsettling sensation of awakening in the dead of night, plagued by burning heartburn, acute gastrointestinal discomfort, or a disconcertingly racing heart, there is a very strong probability that your late-night eating rituals are the primary culprits. The underlying mechanism is straightforward. Instead of dedicating its vital resources to entering deep, restorative sleep, a critical period for cellular repair and physiological recalibration, your body is involuntarily diverted into an intense digestive marathon. Your stomach relentlessly produces copious amounts of acid, your intestines are compelled to work overtime, and your heart rate, which should ideally be gracefully descending into a restful state, remains alarmingly elevated. This metabolic diversion triggers a detrimental chain reaction throughout your entire physiological system, trapping you in a lighter, more restless, and ultimately less beneficial state of sleep, while simultaneously augmenting the chances of experiencing sudden and acute cardiovascular events. For instance, consider indulging in a particularly heavy pasta dish or a calorie-dense greasy burger just before settling into bed. Initially, a fleeting sense of fullness and satisfaction might prevail. However, as you recline horizontally, your body struggles valiantly to contain stomach acid within its proper confines. This corrosive acid can then unnervingly creep upwards into your esophagus, causing a searing discomfort, persistent coughing, or even terrifying choking sensations that violently jolt you from slumber. Over an extended period, this chronic acid reflux, medically termed gastroesophageal reflux disease, GERD, can progressively weaken the delicate muscles in your throat and airway, tragically increasing the risk of developing aspiration pneumonia, a severe and potentially lethal lung infection, particularly dangerous for the elderly. Furthermore, eating excessively late at night can significantly contribute to unpredictable and dangerous spikes in blood sugar levels. For individuals managing diabetes or those identified as being at an elevated risk, this habit can profoundly disrupt glucose homeostasis, making it exceptionally challenging for the body to regulate blood sugar effectively throughout the hours of sleep. Definitive studies consistently demonstrate that seniors who routinely consume late-night meals exhibit a statistically higher incidence of developing various metabolic disorders that are direct contributors to the insidious progression of heart disease. The recommended countermeasure involves adopting a conscious adjustment to meal timing. Endeavor to conclude your final substantial meal at least 3 to 4 hours prior to your intended bedtime. This strategic window allows your digestive system ample opportunity to process food thoroughly before you assume a horizontal position. If a pre-bedtime snack becomes unavoidable, prioritize light, easily digestible options such as a modest handful of raw nuts, a small piece of ripe fruit, or a soothing cup of warm herbal tea. These judicious choices can, in fact, actively facilitate better sleep without imposing undue stress on an already aging digestive system. It is vital to remember that your body's operational mechanics have fundamentally evolved over the decades. By implementing this seemingly minor but impactful alteration to your eating schedule, you can substantially mitigate your risk of experiencing nocturnal health crises, markedly enhance the restorative quality of your sleep, and genuinely afford your body the profound rest it so critically requires. Another prevalent habit that warrants close scrutiny, particularly after the age of 70, is the excessive consumption of liquids too close to bedtime. While the general principle of maintaining adequate hydration is undeniably beneficial for overall health, ingesting an undue volume of fluids, especially during the hours leading up to sleep, can paradoxically become detrimental as one ages. If you are a senior frequently disturbed multiple times throughout the night by an urgent need to use the bathroom, it is highly advisable to critically reevaluate your evening fluid intake. However, mere sleep disruption represents only one facet of concern. This habit also significantly escalates the risk of debilitating falls, exacerbates pre-existing heart conditions, and can even contribute to an insidious decline in cognitive function over time. The physiological rationale is deeply rooted in age-related bodily changes. With advancing years, the bladder naturally diminishes in its capacity and efficiency to retain urine for prolonged periods. The supporting muscles of the bladder wall gradually weaken. The kidneys continue their diligent work of filtering bodily fluids even through the night, and the entire system becomes acutely more sensitive to even minute quantities of ingested liquid. This confluence of factors means that consuming a large glass of water, tea, or juice before bed drastically increases the probability of being abruptly awakened by an overwhelming urge to void. While this might initially be dismissed as a mere minor inconvenience, the potential ramifications extend far beyond simple annoyance. Consider a common scenario. It is the deepest part of the night, and you are suddenly roused by an extremely full bladder. You attempt to rise from your bed with undue haste, but your cardiovascular system has not had sufficient time to adapt to the sudden change in posture. This rapid transition can trigger a phenomenon known as postural hypotension, characterized by an abrupt and significant drop in blood pressure upon standing. This physiological response frequently manifests as acute dizziness, severe lightheadedness, and in more severe instances, complete fainting. Numerous seniors experience these episodes without fully comprehending their underlying cause, and tragically, postural hypotension stands as one of the leading contributors to dangerous nighttime falls, transforming a routine trip to the bathroom into a potentially life-threatening accident, culminating in severe fractures, traumatic head injuries, or even worse outcomes. Beyond the immediate danger of falls, the persistent need for frequent nighttime urination, medically termed nocturia, profoundly fragments and disrupts the essential sleep cycle. Each instance of waking and activating a light source inadvertently signals to the brain that it is morning, thereby disrupting the natural circadian production of melatonin, the crucial hormone indispensable for inducing and sustaining deep, restorative sleep. Over a prolonged period, consistently poor sleep quality can progressively compromise the immune system, elevate systemic blood pressure, and alarmingly accelerate cognitive decline. Research unequivocally demonstrates a strong correlation between frequent nocturnal awakenings in seniors and a higher incidence of developing dementia and other memory-related conditions, directly attributable to chronic sleep disruption. Recognizing that hydration remains fundamental, the optimal solution does not involve eliminating liquids entirely, but rather strategically rescheduling fluid intake. The majority of your daily fluids should be consumed earlier in the day, gradually tapering off as the late afternoon progresses. If thirst arises in the evening, opt for small, controlled sips rather than gulping down an entire glass. Furthermore, it is crucial to be mindful of caffeinated beverages such as coffee or tea consumed in the late afternoon or evening, as caffeine acts as a potent diuretic, significantly increasing urine production and exacerbating the problem. An additional, often overlooked consideration involves recognizing hidden sources of liquid within your diet. Soups, fruits with high water content, and even certain medications can contribute to fluid retention, thereby augmenting your propensity to awaken at night. By implementing these small yet deliberate adjustments to your fluid intake regimen, you can dramatically enhance your sleep quality, substantially reduce the critical risk of nighttime falls, and robustly support your holistic health and well-being for years to come. Shifting our attention to the sleeping environment, a seemingly innocuous preference for a cozy, warm bedroom, particularly for those over 70, can insidiously compromise one's health. Many seniors mistakenly believe that elevating the thermostat or enveloping themselves in multiple heavy blankets will facilitate better sleep. However, the unequivocal truth is that maintaining an overly warm sleeping environment significantly increases the risk of cardiovascular strain, dehydration, and profoundly diminishes sleep quality, often without the individual ever realizing the underlying cause. As the human body ages, its innate thermoregulatory mechanisms become progressively less efficient. The capacity to adequately sweat and effectively dissipate excess heat declines, rendering the body more susceptible to overheating, especially during the hours of sleep when metabolic processes shift. When the body overheats, the heart is compelled to work considerably harder to initiate cooling mechanisms, imposing undue and potentially dangerous strain on an already aging cardiovascular system. This situation is particularly precarious for seniors with pre-existing heart conditions, chronic high blood pressure, or compromised circulatory function. Consider the common experience of waking up feeling drenched in sweat, restlessly agitated, or even slightly breathless in the dead of night. These are unmistakable signals that your body is struggling valiantly to regulate its core temperature. Scientific studies consistently indicate that sleeping in an excessively warm room markedly increases the risk of nocturnal dehydration, even in the absence of a conscious sensation of thirst. Mild dehydration during sleep can cause the blood to become discernibly thicker, thereby elevating the critical risk of developing dangerous blood clots, precipitating heart attacks, and triggering strokes, particularly among the older adult population. To illustrate, imagine Frank, a 74-year-old retired gentleman who relishes reading in bed before turning in for the night. He consistently maintains his bedroom at a comfortable 75 Western and piles on thick, insulating blankets to stay warm. Yet, night after night, Frank finds himself tossing and turning restlessly, waking up completely soaked in sweat and enduring persistent grogginess the following morning. What Frank remains unaware of is the fact that his warm sleeping environment is actively sabotaging his body's natural sleep cycle, systematically preventing him from attaining the deep, restorative stages of sleep that are absolutely essential for optimal health and cognitive function. Conversely, a cooler ambient room temperature actively promotes superior sleep by encouraging the body to naturally lower its core temperature, a physiological process fundamental for entering deep sleep, which in turn facilitates critical memory consolidation, bolsters immune system efficacy, and contributes significantly to overall longevity. Seniors who consistently habituate themselves to a cooler sleeping environment routinely report awakening feeling markedly more refreshed, genuinely energized, and mentally sharper. The consensus among sleep experts recommends maintaining a bedroom temperature between 60 and 67 degrees C for achieving optimal sleep quality. If this range initially feels too cool, consider layering with breathable cotton blankets instead of heavy, synthetic materials that have a tendency to trap heat. Opting for light, moisture-wicking sleepwear can also effectively assist in regulating body temperature throughout the night. A deceptively simple yet highly effective trick involves opening a window slightly to introduce fresh air or utilizing a small fan to ensure continuous air circulation. This not only aids in cooling, but also enhances indoor air quality, thereby mitigating the risk of respiratory issues that could otherwise disturb sleep. Implementing this seemingly minor adjustment to your sleep environment can yield a profoundly powerful impact on your holistic health, significantly reducing the risk of cardiovascular strain, actively promoting deeper and more restorative sleep, and ensuring you wake up feeling genuinely better rested without the inherent dangers associated with overheating. Finally, we turn our attention to a pervasive bedtime habit that carries particular risks for seniors, yet one that an astonishing number of individuals unknowingly engage in every single night, a revelation that may genuinely come as a surprise: sleeping in an incorrect or suboptimal position. Most people rarely give a second thought to their sleeping posture, operating under the assumption that mere comfort equates to healthy rest. However, after the age of 70, the specific position assumed during sleep can exert a far more significant influence on one's health than commonly perceived. An inappropriate sleeping position can directly contribute to serious breathing difficulties, impede efficient circulation, and even tragically increase the risk of acute heart failure or cerebrovascular accidents like strokes. Yet, countless seniors without conscious awareness adopt sleeping postures that impose unnecessary and continuous strain on their delicate bodily systems throughout the entire night. The fundamental reason for this heightened concern lies in the age-related physiological transformations that impact muscle tone, pulmonary function, and systemic circulation. Maintaining an improper position for several hours during sleep can restrict critical airflow, consequently reducing vital oxygen levels throughout the body and exerting undue pressure on key blood vessels, thereby hindering the body's ability to function optimally during the crucial restorative phase of sleep. Over time, this chronic physiological stress can manifest in a spectrum of issues, ranging from bothersome snoring and serious sleep apnea to far more critical conditions such as nocturnal heart strain. For example, lying completely flat on one's back, while often perceived as a comfortable default, is, for many seniors, ironically, one of the most hazardous sleeping positions. In this supine posture, the force of gravity causes the tongue and soft tissues located in the throat to relax and fall backward, resulting in a partial or complete blockage of the airway. This obstruction is the hallmark of obstructive sleep apnea, OSA, a debilitating condition characterized by repeated episodes of breathing cessation and resumption during sleep. A significant number of individuals remain undiagnosed with OSA, despite its profound ability to significantly elevate the risk of developing severe heart disease, chronic high blood pressure, and even sudden cardiac arrest. Consider the case of Robert, a 76-year-old man who had always preferred sleeping on his back. His wife had occasionally observed him momentarily ceasing to breathe for several seconds at night before gasping loudly for air. Initially, Robert dismissed these occurrences as mere aspects of normal aging. However, as time progressed, he began to consistently wake up feeling utterly exhausted, suffering from persistent headaches, and experiencing marked difficulty concentrating during his waking hours. Upon finally consulting his physician, he discovered that his habitual sleeping position was a significant contributing factor to his undiagnosed sleep apnea, placing immense and continuous strain on his heart every single night. Even in the absence of clinical sleep apnea, an incorrect sleeping position can severely compromise circulation. When one sleeps predominantly on the right side, research suggests that it imposes additional pressure on the heart, impeding its ability to pump blood efficiently throughout the circulatory system. This is an especially critical concern for seniors already grappling with pre-existing heart conditions, as it can contribute to the insidious buildup of fluid in the lungs and lower extremities, a hallmark of congestive heart failure. So, what constitutes the optimal sleeping position for individuals after the age of 70? Experts widely recommend sleeping on the left side whenever biologically feasible. This specific position is recognized for its ability to significantly improve circulation, facilitate more efficient cardiac pumping action, and even aid digestion, particularly beneficial for those prone to acid reflux or heartburn. Sleeping on the left side helps to prevent stomach acid from refluxing upwards into the throat, thereby alleviating discomfort and markedly enhancing sleep quality. If maintaining a side sleeping position proves challenging, the strategic use of a body pillow can effectively prevent rolling onto the back. Elevating the head slightly with a supportive pillow can also aid in keeping the airways open and diminishing the risk of breathing disruptions. Furthermore, for individuals experiencing joint pain or stiffness, placing a pillow between the knees can help maintain proper spinal alignment and alleviate pressure on the lower back, contributing to a more comfortable and restorative sleep. Making this comparatively simple adjustment to one's sleeping position can exert a truly profound and far-reaching impact on overall health by ensuring that the body is optimally positioned for unhindered circulation, unobstructed breathing, and efficient heart function, thereby reducing the critical risk of nocturnal health complications and guaranteeing a more refreshed and energized awakening each morning. In conclusion, we have meticulously explored 4 pervasive bedtime habits that, while appearing harmless on the surface, present genuine and escalating health risks for individuals once they cross the threshold of 70 years of age. From the detrimental practice of consuming heavy meals too late into the night, to the often overlooked issue of ingesting excessive fluids before bed, from the subtle dangers of maintaining an overly warm sleeping environment, to the critical importance of adopting a correct sleeping posture, each of these seemingly minor routines possesses the capacity to silently but profoundly impact the vital health of the heart, the essential quality of sleep, and one's overall well-being. The reassuring news amidst these warnings is that these identified risks are not immutable. By implementing thoughtful and deliberate adjustments to one's nighttime routine, it is entirely possible to substantially enhance sleep quality, significantly lower the risk of experiencing serious health issues, and consistently awaken feeling stronger and more revitalized with each passing morning. It is highly beneficial for each individual to engage in a moment of honest self-reflection. Which of these habits resonate most with your personal routine? Do you frequently find yourself awakening multiple times throughout the night? Have you ever experienced restless sleep or felt uncomfortably overheated while trying to rest? Perhaps you have consistently slept on your back for years, oblivious to its potential physiological impact. Irrespective of the specific habits identified, the fundamental key to improvement lies in awareness. Once a problem is consciously recognized, concrete and actionable steps can be taken to rectify it. Therefore, consider this a personal challenge. Tonight, pay heightened attention to your established bedtime routine. Experiment with adjusting just one of these identified habits and carefully observe its effect on your sleep. Perhaps you will shift your last meal to an earlier time, lower the thermostat in your bedroom, or consciously endeavor to shift to your left side while sleeping. Even a single, small, intentional change possesses the remarkable power to catalyze a significant and cumulative positive difference over time, fostering a healthier, safer, and more restorative nightly experience.